Amba is an immigrant who came to Cleveland after taking care of her sick mother for many years. So she wants to achieve the American dream. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of good jobs, so she works in a sweatshop of sorts, and housing is rather difficult. Enter Red and Becker, who house a bunch of women in this place where no one gets out alive. It's a Netflix original directed by Santiago Menini in his feature film debut, written by John Crocker and Fernando Capel, based on a novel by Adam Neville, and stars Cristina Raldo as Amba, who I gotta say is fucking gorgeous. Really, really fucking gorgeous. Very captivating. I need to see more movies that she's in. Seriously, she's fucking captivating. And she is in this movie just basically trying to, make it big. She's trying to make it on her own. She's gonna make it after all. I threw the hat way too soon. If you get that reference, I love you guys. So yeah, this is centered around a Mexican immigrant basically struggling to make ends meet and make a better life in America. So we find out more about, why she's there and what's gone on as the movie goes on. Unfortunately, this movie also throws a bunch of ideas and a bunch of, little bits of storyline at you, and none of them really end up going anywhere. There's a few good things that could have worked, but they just take all these little ideas. Humans have to beat them together and say, there, that will be 80 minutes of your time that you will never get back. And it's unfortunate, because I kind of wanted to like this, because at first, it wasn't that bad. It was a little bit boring, then it got to be aggressively boring, then it got to be where it's like, oh, it's like Stay Out of the Fucking Attic mixed with The Ritual. If you've seen either of those, then you know that, well, you're not going to be in for something really all that great. Stay Out of the Fucking Attic was not great. The Ritual, boy, is it a lot more like The Ritual than I initially thought. So, spoilers will come up here in a little bit, but basically, she is trying to make sure that, good things happen and everything, and obviously it is difficult. She left the life, that she had in, Mexico and decided to, try to do some things. And she has flashbacks to being there with her sick mother who she had taken care of. And I assume, at least by, memory alone, that her mother ended up passing away. So she's trying to do some good things. And there's Red, the landlord, and he says, oh, yeah, there's some other women here. And turns out that there's a little bit more to that as things go on. There's a friend that she has at this sweatshop type place. I didn't even know that places like this could still exist, but man, my fucking goodness, boy, was the boss a real goddamn dick. A real slave driver, if you will, treating women like fucking dirt. I can only imagine if they had fleshed this out a little bit more what he would have been doing. It probably would have ended up like that Law & Order SVU episode, if you know what I mean. So, we also see a bit of documentary footage about an explorer named Arthur Wells digging something out of like this Mexican ruin area. Not like the movie The Ruins. No, there's no plants coming to life. More in the pity. But I should retro review that one as well. But then we smash cut to Amba trying to make, and by the way, there's an R at the end, but it's Amba. Amba. Sorry, it's going to pop into my head because la 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 Amba. Okay, let's just assume that anybody is still watching as this gets weirder and weirder. Well, there is one funny line, not that Cleveland's much to look at, and apparently that, from what I've heard about people that live near or have lived in Cleveland, that's pretty accurate. So, again, she keeps having flashbacks, she keeps hearing weird noises, and, these other women that are in the house, some come and go, some just disappear. She's trying to get an ID that says she's from a particular area because she's trying to get her cousin to get her a better job, but she's got to do things right. She's kind of had to lie to get where she is. And then things basically just go tits up and finds out, well, maybe this house actually isn't necessarily the best place to live. And then things really, really go strange and go violent, and it just gets fucking ridiculous to the point where they just said, okay, we got a bunch of characters here, let's just have everybody die stupidly. Because everybody's stupid and bad, everything. I was very disappointed by this because there was also something based on that documentary footage where I'm like, okay, we could go somewhere with this. And no, it just kind of ended up being like that movie, The Possession, which, if you remember anything about that box thing, well, that kind of comes into play a little bit later because there's this weird, mysterious box. What's in the box? We find out, and I'll spoil it in a little bit. This movie just doesn't end up knowing what it wants to be, and unfortunately ends up wasting the talents of Cristina Radlow, I'm just butchering this name all over the place. She I think could do good as a leading actress because she has the chops and she did as good as she could here, but there was no fucking material. Two people writing a movie that really could have just been a concept, like, for a short movie. Like, honestly, for an anthology, you could have made this 40 minutes, trimmed out all the useless stuff, which was a lot of it, so maybe even 40 minutes would have been extending it way too far. They still could have done something with it. They failed to, and unfortunately just ended up being this butchered mess that by the end was just ridiculous. Like, first, it's about, you know, an immigrant trying to make ends meet and trying to do some good things and everything. And then bing, we go to, you know, people possibly being violent for no reason. Oh, wait, there's this mysterious box. Wait, there are these, you know, ghosts that are doing this thing. And wait, maybe these ghosts aren't bad. Maybe these are bad and stuff like that. It just throws a bunch of shit at you and doesn't let anything breathe. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it gets to the point where it's like, okay, not explaining anything is the worst thing. Not leaving some things open to interpretation is fine. But like, okay, let's just throw these out there and we'll just, you know, let people make their own decisions. Unfortunately, a lot of the decisions that the viewers could make would end up being infinitely better than what this movie ends up doing. It tries to be a ghost story. It tries to be a social commentary on immigration at first, and then just tries to meld these things into a melting pot of basically just shit. It ends up being absolute goddamn shit. I'm going to get into spoilers now, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give it an F, because it deserves an F, because it doesn't utilize any of these ideas. None of these characters, even Amba at one point, you kind of root for, and then you just stop rooting for anybody. And it's a shame, because again, Christina does have the potential to be a leading woman. But now, spoilers. Okay, spoilers. So anyway, there's this documentary footage that dug out this box and everything. And it turns out this box has weird, mysterious healing powers, where Red, who's the landlord, and his brother Becker have been using it, because it turns out that this guy, Arthur, this explorer, was their dad. And the dad basically ended up killing the mother because he found out this box has mysterious healing possibilities. Now, how could a stone box, have mysterious healing abilities? Well, it turns out there's this weird creature that somehow is in there because it's an interdimensional portal to somewhere. And it looks like, remember the ritual? It looks exactly like that creature. Just kind of weird, and, you know, it's almost like it has a statue of the Hispanic Virgin Mary, you know, for its head. And then it has a weird, you know, mouth, like, down there, kind of like the ritual creature did. I don't even remember what the fuck it was called. But it just ends up being so ridiculous. That's basically what it is. That's basically what the goddamn, you know, spoiler section contains, because this guy Becker's been using it to heal, and he's addicted to it. He had conditions and stuff like that, and the mother ends up being, you know, dying at some point, and all Amma has as her memories. And her cousin shows up at one point, gets shit beat out of him. Other women get the shit beat out of them. One gets dropped down the goddamn steps. Amba ends up doing this, she ends up going into her memories, getting rid of her mother that is trying to comfort her because she's in this weird, mysterious portal thing, and then the creature ends up leaving her alone. Why does the creature end up leaving her alone? The creature must have chose her, or the creature just gave up, or the special effects budget ran out, and they had to get more funding to have it in at the very last scene. Or they filmed this at the end, and the special effects budget have run out. I'm going with that because really at this point, I don't think the director and anybody knew what the fuck they were doing. The creature ends up killing Red because she kills this guy Becker, and then, you know, puts Red there, and then Red gets his head bitten off. Redhead, if you will. What does everybody want? Red. So it's not like the Amazing Red. So basically at the end, her foot's all busted up and her foot gets healed, and she's got the sun's on her, and she's looking at her hands all weird. Oh no, the creature has attached itself to her, so now she's got to stay near the box to stay healed, and it's stupid, and it's really dumb, and I hate it. I really, really fucking hate it. It's like, just none of this was good. None of this was good at all. And again, no one gets out alive. Technically, she did, because she's still alive. Maybe she never left the house. Maybe she's got to, you know, be like the woman in the window, which is another terrible Netflix original movie. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.